Everybody, this is Erin Lincoln. I'm here to show you how to do the basic assembly for the pencil pouch. As you've seen here, the stitching dies to create this little strap-on pocket to your Moments Inked planner. Specifically holds a nice pen or pencil. Have a paper made in there. And the trick with this one is it has an elastic band that's sewn in, so you can put it over the cover, or I like to actually use it kind of like a bookmark, and it goes to the page I need to go to. So we'll show you all about that. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, this is the funny looking pencil pouch die, and there's a reason why it looks this way. We'll explain later. And these are all the extra little dies that came with it that I've snipped apart. So we're going to go ahead and cut one of the pencil pouch die. I had this piece of felt already cut and it just made it. So I had like 2 millimeters left. So I'm making sure it's on there correctly. I'm running it through my Vagabond machine. And we have our cut. And that's what's so great about the stitching dies, is that it cuts the shape and the stitching holes for you. Okay, we have this holes only die right here with the 2 lines of stitching holes. Now put your die back, and you see that opening there? That shows you where the middle is and how to place that. So you place the holes only channel guide die in that opening, and you know it is in the middle on the back. And so that's why we have that opening. Otherwise we'd be counting holes and it'd be no fun whatsoever. Alright, so you want to cut this twice. I cut it towards one end, and now I'm going to cut it towards the other. And these are the holes to stitch in our channels for the elastic band. So that's what we're doing now. And then here, see, there's the holes only. There's the one that cuts the shape and the holes. So that's going to be it's going to guide the elastic. You're going to want 2 of these. Now, I originally cut the pencil pouch out of Raspberry Fizz, and I'm cutting all the details out of Hibiscus Burst. Just a little bit of contrast, not much. And as you can see, these little circles, that's where our basic gray magnets go. And so you're going to want to cut 4 of those. We sew in magnets to keep this pouch closed. So I'm just going to cut 1 on the camera and do the other 3 off. You don't need to see me do that. Get the basic idea. All right, there's 1. And I've cut 3 more, so I have 4. You're going to want to cut 4. Okay, and one last thing. We have this kind of square die with, I guess, 12 holes. You're going to cut that twice. And that's what's going to secure our elastic in a loop. We're going to put that aside. You won't see that till the very end at this point. Okay. I'm going to show you, like I do always, how I do all my stitching. I give you one example, and then it's just assumed throughout the rest of the video I've done the same thing. So what I like to do, and I realize it's a little off camera, is I slip my needle in between the 2 pieces of felt, and the next stitch is through both. And this way, when I go to tie, I hide my knot between the 2 layers of felt. And what I do is a simple running stitch in one direction, and then I reverse and fill in those gaps, tie my knot, and there you go. So now here I'm reversing, and all my stitching on this pencil pouch is going to be exactly like this. As you can see, my 2 tails are in between the 2 layers of felt, double square knot. I guess it's just a square knot. Double would be 4 knots, right? And I just snip it. And now I'm going to do the other side. And then I'm going to sew in the second channel. Okay, now this part gets a little tricky because everything I'm doing is to hide our knots. And we're going to make some accommodations for that. So right now we're going to stitch these straight lines that I'm pointing out all the way down. We are not going to stitch any borders. Anything that's a border, we're not going to put any floss through. So just watch and see. I'm starting here right at that dotted circle where our magnets are going to go, and I'm going to stitch up this line. And really this is mostly just decorative. There is an additional die to add that you can purchase that adds a little bit more color by an additional layer, but that's the second video I'm going to be doing. This is just the basic. So again, running stitch all the way up. Now this is where it gets tricky around this hole. I do not want to put my needle through this circle and have any stitching on the back side. So I'm actually threading all the way over, and in some cases I have to skip a hole. That's the border of that circle, because if I go through it, then I'm on the back side, and I don't want that. I want to hide all my thread, all my ties, and this is how I'm doing it. You see, I have to skip it, and it doesn't look right. I know it doesn't look right. It looks horrible, but it all comes together. Trust me. See, it gets completely covered up. There we go. So it's a little tricky to figure this all out, but you can do it. And you literally have to skip over holes in order for this to work. And when we're all done, we're going to flip it over. I'm going to show you the back side, and you can tell if you're correct with your stitching or not. Because those circles, they don't get stitched right now. Just these straight lines that are not borders. Okay, so I went all the way back, and now I need to go down past the circle down here and back up. And I'm going to tie my knot. Because this is getting covered up, you don't see the knot. So this whole tutorial video is basically an exercise in us hiding our knots. That's the whole point of the whole thing. Because I do it a really funky way, but everything is hidden. All right, I trimmed it off. Looks horrible, but look at the back. You don't see those circles. You see nothing of those circles. So we've done it correctly. All right, I'm going to do this other side. Probably off camera, I think. Yep. Looks horrible. Flip it over. I have all straight lines. I have no lengths of string spanning those circles. So I know I've done this right. Okay, we're moving on to the magnets. I actually really messed this up on video, so I made a paper copy for you. We're using the basic gray magnets. On one circle, I put a plus magnet, and the one that is directly across from it is the negative magnet. These basic gray magnets come this way, and for polarity reasons, this is how we have to do it. That negative is actually on the magnet cover instead of on the pencil pouch. Take the adhesive off, you flip them over. They stick. They stick really well to the felt too. Again, that second magnet, look, it is on the magnet cover, not on the pencil pouch. You have to do that in order for it to work. And then you sew them on, covering the magnets and covering that messy string mess we had and our knots. So that's how that all works. The small basic gray magnets were sized specifically to fit this pencil pouch. Okay, here we're back to my pencil pouch, all in felt. All the magnets are sewn in, and now we're going to fold it and assemble it. The magnets work through the felt. See? Nice and tight. All right, you're going to fold this up 9 holes. Fold it 9 holes, and above where it is 2 layered is 5 holes. So you can count and make sure you know where we are. Know you've done it correctly. See, I'm adjusting it a little bit and counting. You want to go 9 holes. Okay, I'm going to insert my needle between the layers of felt here, and then I'm going to sew these 2 layers together. Running stitch, and when we get up to where it goes from 2 layers to 1 layer, we're actually going to take a left turn and stitch across only through the 1 layer. And this gives us a nice pocket for our pen or pencil and finishes off this edge. And so I'm going to go all the way across and down and then back in the other direction and tie it off. Now I turned and I'm going through 2 layers of felt again to make this pouch, this pocket. If you notice, the magnet covers and the channel felt pieces are all on the outside of this. Okay, I'm reversing and going back. Sewing through both layers at this point. What I do want to say, when you are only sewing through one layer, which is that across section, don't tug too tightly because it'll pucker. 2 layers of felt we don't have to worry too much about. Okay, there we go. I've tied it off. And now we have one last bit of stitching. Now I think it's a good idea to put your needle in down here where there is 2 layers of felt and stitch over that edge. I just think this is a good place to reinforce that. It's going to be a weak area. That's where, you know, things are opening, shutting, and flapping open. So an extra stitch, probably a good idea, and it gives you a chance to hide your knot. It's a twofer. And remember back when we were stitching those decorative lines and skipping over the magnet circles, now I'm picking up that line right there because that's the border. Didn't want extra stitches there, so that's why I said no borders, just the straight decorative lines. Okay, now we're gonna go, are we going back in the other direction? I have my little recording box is blocking this. Okay, there we go. We're going back in the other direction. Remember, we go down 1 stitch into that double layer to reinforce it, and we go on back. Don't pull too tight because you'll pucker a single layer of felt. Okay, all done. Gonna tie it off. Sometimes an extra knot is a good idea to. You can also use some freight check, which is like a liquid fabric glue and has a little nozzle, and you can get it in there and really secure it. All right, this was designed to go with the planner, so it fits perfectly on the cover. Only thing is we need to hold it there, and so we're going to use elastic. This comes in a wide variety of colors and finishes. It's either fold over elastic or runched elastic, anything a 1/2 inch to 5/8 of an inch. Comes in a lot of colors. It seems to be very popular, and they've expanded the line a lot. You can get this at Joann's. I'm sure you can get it online. This time we're going to use the runched elastic. I think it's a little fancier for our sophisticated planner, right? And so this is really easy. It's kind of a no-brainer. I just take whatever I'm going to wrap this on and I stretch the elastic around it and I make it just taut enough that I know it's going to stay when it's on there, and then I trim it. There's no measuring involved with a measuring tape. It's just a little common sense here. And overlap it by, I would say, 1 inch. Okay, there's our pencil pouch, and you see those little pink squares with holes that we stitched beforehand. We're going to use those now. Okay, thread your elastic through your channels that you created in the back of your pencil pouch. I just use my scissors to help this through. Make sure nothing's twisted. And I'm going to overlap the ends by just about 1 inch. And I'm going to put one of these pieces that we cut in the beginning on the back and one on the front, and I'm just making a sandwich. It looks a little bit like a s'more with those little holes. And there's enough holes here that you cross stitch X's 3 across and 3 up. So there's going to be 9 X's when this is all said and done, and that elastic's not going anywhere. I wanted it to be really secure but very easy to do. And so this is what we're going to end up doing. Now my back is a mess, but this gets hidden, so I'm not too concerned about how messy the back of this looks. Because you'll see in a second, it gets pulled down into that channel. And with the needle going through those 2 layers of elastic, because remember they're kind of overlapping so many times, you can bet that thing is secure. So yeah, the back's a mess. If you want to worry about that, go ahead. I'm not. Because, it just slips right down in there on that channel cover, and, you don't have to worry about it. All right, it will go right over your cover, just like this. It holds it nicely because we measured the elastic. And I like to use this as a bookmark and, hold tight the months or the pages I have already used up against the cover so I can open right to where I need to be. So it's kind of a twofer. Okay, here's a little extra tip for you. I found these iron-on metal studs by Simplicity at Joann's. 30 for like $4. Didn't use a coupon, but even less if you did. And I think they add just a little bit of sophistication to this felt pencil pouch for you because you are using it on your planner and you want it to look nice. And they just iron on. Just make sure you don't have the steam setting on your iron. And it takes about 20 seconds a piece. It was really easy. I didn't even try these out beforehand. I just went for it and very surprised with how well they worked. Okay, we're all ready to plan away. Just got to put a pencil in there. Okay, again, here's what it looks like all done. The nice glamour shot. And stay tuned. I have another way to close this pencil pouch up using little girl hair elastics instead of the basic gray magnets. A little less notion-y, a little bit more affordable for the everyday use. So look for that. But other than that, really, it's a fun project. Not that expensive, even though I said it was probably maybe $3 tops with all the extra supplies. I'm just going to show you a different way to do it because we want to be as versatile as possible. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I'm sure there will be plenty more stitching tutorials to come. Bye-bye.